All right, what's up, everybody? It's another week, another Ask Me Anything happy hour. So cheers to y'all's. We're here to answer your questions. None of you submitted pre-submitted questions, so we're just going to riff until we build. So get yourself ready, find a nice, comfortable chair, think up a couple questions, crack your favorite beverage, and we'll be right back after this. All right, we're back at it, getting primed and prepped and ready to answer any questions you guys have. I know we had tons of questions on today's wealth webinar. That was nutty. The amount of questions that came in, and we did something I've never done is I asked the audience what they wanted to learn about and what they wanted me to teach. And boy, did they deliver. We had Josh Zigalowski on from ERC. So talking about how some people can collect some money with their businesses that they left on the table. And I just got a text that 12 people signed up to be affiliates. So we'll see if any of those 12 actually do anything. That's always the interesting part. But it's always fun. So I figure let's start up there with the cartel boss and kind of go around and do some intros. So cartel boss, what's happening out there?
What's up, guys? So I took the honor of naming everybody today in honor of the experience this weekend. So we're all flying to Mexico to a beautiful resort down below south of Cancun for the experience. Been sold out for months though, so you cannot come, but we'll be in July. In August, we'll be in Vegas for the next experience, so join us for that one. But in honor of that, I will be the cartel boss today, and Chris is going to be teaching everybody how to multiply their dineros. Joe's ready for his cerveza. We got Jason El Gringo, we got Craig El Capo, and we got La Señorita Beautiful Shauna with us today. So it's going to be a good time. Gabby is already south of the border, down there probably stretching out, enjoying the sunshine. So Gabby, if you're watching, we'll see you in a couple days. But awesome. Stephen Nagy, hopefully you guys know who I am.
Steven, what's your fun fact? I mean, other than your ball of energy, what's your fun fact?
I got the Virginia Tech shirt on, so fun fact, I grew up in a small little town right by Blacksburg, Virginia, where Virginia Tech is located, a little place called Christiansburg. Grew up with our doors open, friends walking out. Nobody locked their doors. The good old times are gone, though, it seems like, because I think even in Christiansburg, Virginia, I think people probably lock their doors these ways. But anyways, Noah said, Highlanders. I went to Radford University. His wife, Christy, went to Radford University. So it's a small world. What am I going to say? That's a good fun fact, actually. Perfect. No, I'm glad you're on. So there you go.
Awesome. I'm also prepping and getting ready to go to Mexico here, flying out early morning Friday to join all of our awesome attendees for this Money Multiplier experience event. It's going to be epic. But you know what? Just because you guys missed this one, don't kick yourself too hard in the ass. I know you screwed up and you missed it. So, but you got another shot. You can join us out there in the good old Las Vegas, where what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. And one of the interesting things about that trip and that mastermind is we're going to be racing Ferraris and Porsches and our Audi R8s. And we're going to have all sorts of fancy cars that you guys are going to be able to race. We can crash them into the wall. Don't worry. They're insured. Try not to crash. But if it happens, oh well. And we're going to have a lot of fun, lots of cool experiences. So you can talk to Shauna down there, and she can get you signed up for the next one because it will sell out, and then you'll have to kick yourself in the butt again. Fun fact is, no hablo español.
I think you got to change your name to El Gringo. That's worse than my Spanish.
Oh, boy.
Donde español?
Also, right. That's a disclaimer. Since I seem to be a disclaimer guy, if you wreck the car, it's not necessarily no liability. So let's double check that before Chris commits to that. We'll run it by Gabby this weekend. Go ahead.
Well, try not to wreck it unnecessarily. But if you go into the turn at 130 instead of 100, then, well, I mean, you're just testing the car. That's not unnecessary.
A fun fact.
We all should push the limits.
Cars down on file. I'm good with that.
In the Ferrari, last time I raced them down there, I went into the corner. I mean, I like driving fast, and the guy like locked the brakes up on me, and I'm like, I kind of look over at him, I'm like, dude, I had that. He didn't think so.
Do they control it too?
Yeah, they got a brake. It sucks. So just, you know.
Oh, that's awesome.
Look forward to that. That's funny.
All right. Well, I'll get going here. ¿Cómo estás? Me llamo El Capo. That's about all the Spanish I know. But anyway, also looking forward to going to Mexico. Let's see here. Fun fact. Do you guys remember the Kool-Aid guy that would crash through the walls and go, Kool-Aid, and he'd just run through the walls?
Yes, I very much remember
I
that.
grew up on the street in Hastings, Nebraska, Briggs Street, which you'll see back down the sign. That's where Kool-Aid was invented.
Whoa.
Fact.
All right. Well, that's my fun fact.
I love it.
On
We're
you,
all
Joe.
drinking the Kool-Aid today.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
Joe's
All right,
looking.
Joe, you're up.
Joe, would you like to come on the show?
Can you
Tell
hear
us who
me?
you are.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, there you are.
I didn't know if my voice was on. Okay. I was gonna be funny and say chalupa, Taco Bell, but I guess I kind of ruined it. So no hablo inglés either.
Yeah, no Spanish or English.
That's right. Neither. No numbers. No numero either.
No, you just talk numbers. Joe just talks in numbers, just numbers.
I figured you'd start speaking French or something, thinking you were speaking Spanish.
Oh, je m'appelle José.
Parlez-vous l'anglais?
All right. Well,
No,
while
no,
Joe's
no
being
fussing
silent and speaking sometimes, and we're not sure what language, I'll go ahead, right? And I'll just start with the fun fact. So my fun fact is why all these awesome folks are going to Mexico. I'm going to Ecuador. I'm flying out to Ecuador tomorrow. I'm married to an Ecuadorian, and 14 years later, I am still a gringo. Still do not habla español. I understand,
Not habla.
but no speaking Spanish.
Oh,
right.
that's pretty bad.
I took Spanish in high school, so I will be trying my best. And I'm Shauna. I'm here from Western
Hi,
New York.
Shauna.
Hi.
Hi, Shauna, with all the fun. Shauna has more fun facts than anybody on this team. She just doesn't know what they are. Shauna,
I
what's
did
your
think
fun
of
fact?
one. I thought of one fun fact about me is when I'm always the first one to go to bed at these events.
No kidding. You don't say.
Just
Where'd Shauna
wait.
go? Nope, gone. What is that
Oh.
T-shirt that Melissa got you? You got to wear that.
It was most likely to make an Irish exit.
Proper.
I don't want to. It's just I get so tired by 8, 9 o'clock. So we'll see. I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna push it to the limit.
Yeah,
9:30. Here she comes.
Yeah. Who knows?
I'll be in the pool at 9:30.
You could be in the pool all year round if you guys would go someplace warm. But hey,
Oh, it's warm.
All right.
All
No
what
one has.
questions do
You
we
see any
have? We got
questions yet?
questions? No questions. There we go.
Oh yay. I have no controls over the screen, but I can read them if you want. So, Mary Beth asked, "What should I do to be financially better after a bankruptcy?"
After a bankruptcy, I think the best thing you can do is, most bankruptcies flush out all the bad debts and you kind of get a fresh canvas that you can start over. I've worked with lots of people that have gone through bankruptcies. Now, I think it's a really cool topic and nobody's ever mentioned that, but thinking of being your own bank, after a bankruptcy is the perfect time. You have a clean slate. You have no debts. You have income coming in, but you can't get loans from anybody. Perfect time for you to start learning how to make loans to yourself from your bank. Seeing as though the bankruptcy will prevent you from getting loans from anybody else's bank, who cares about building your credit back up when you can just take the money that you used to give away to everybody else and all those bad debts, and you can take that money and redirect it, resave it, and then start building up your own banking system and then allowing that banking system to fund things you need in the future, like cars and boats and planes and trains and automobiles and everything else.
I might add to it. And this is just from hitting close to home, is I know that like my brother has also filed for bankruptcy before, and I don't think he particularly learned from what got him into bankruptcy in the first place, because he kind of got himself into the same situation afterwards. So he was working like asbestos removal or something, like a lot of like hard work, labor, and like manual labor or whatever. And he ended up hurting himself and injuring his back. And he ended up getting like, $70,000, made all the wrong decisions with it, got into, I don't want to like spill everybody's beans, but he ended up like, he like filed for bankruptcy, which I know it's there for a reason and it's there to help a lot of people, but you want to like know what it is about you that got yourself there and just try to not do that. That's just like my I don't know, insight on that is as long as you know what got you there.
I think that's that's a really big insight, coming from someone that's seen it firsthand from family members. And it really does come down to what's between your ears. And like Chris is saying, it's a perfect launching point if you learn the lesson. I
think yeah, absolutely.
Anyone else want to comment on that one?
I think you guys covered it well. They're awesome perspectives.
Perfect. And another question is, how can you tell if you're what? Go ahead.
Real fast, the bankruptcy thing. Just one thing I would do to start rebuilding credit is get a secure card. Put like whatever, a couple thousand on it or a few hundred or whatever they'll give you, and then just start building credit using it, buying stuff and paying it off each month, But getting a secure card, you can get one to start rebuilding your credit. Sorry, it's important to rebuild credit though. Okay.
And then Big K Reed is saying, how can you tell if your policy is structured correctly?
You start with the money multiplier and then you'll be confident it's structured properly. Outside of that, we can review it. We can take a look. But if you're trying to do it yourself, you want to get what's called an in-force illustration. And you can just see what's going into what's possible to go into the policy, or call your agent or the company and find out what you can put into it if you have a combination of base and PUAs or whatever the insurance company uses that you're with. And then, the company's important too when it comes to IBC, and then, making sure it's whole life and not some old VUL or IUL or something like that. So there's a lot that goes into it other than just the structuring of it, the company and all that. So we're happy to look at that for you if you want to send us an email, and we can, hop on chat with you and help you out that way though, for sure.
What else we got, Shauna?
Sorry, I'm trying to Google what my name means that Stephen gave me. So
it means the pretty woman.
Oh, okay. So thanks, Stephen. Derek asked, what's the address to join Jason in Ecuador?
Quito. Come to Cats in Quito on Saturday night. It's a bar that plays classic rock. It's going to be a lot of fun. Come to Quito. Cats in Quito. It'll be a lot of fun. So
cool.
Do we want to discuss the elephant in the room? Like, where is Ecuador? Because I have no idea.
It is in South America on the Pacific
side. Okay.
It is right next to Colombia.
Good to know.
Ryan asks, what are your thoughts on banks not being as aggressive on lending in real estate, whereas some private money is still trying to put out money at an aggressive leverage and rates? And what do you think that means behind the scenes in the finance world?
I mean, I think I can hit it, and then Chris, if you want to, but I mean, the banks always tighten up when the economy, we're approaching a recession or in a recession, depending on who you talk to. Obviously inflation's run wild, so the Fed has raised rates, causing mortgage rates and everything else to increase. The banks just really tighten up and become more cautious and conservative when things are, not known to the economy. And then with private money, it's the opposite. So it's people that are looking to, you got to grow your money to keep up and outpace inflation. But the stock market right now is like a roller coaster, and many economists believe it's going to crash hard. So what do you do with your money to grow it and continue to grow wealth and outpace inflation and everything? And private money, when it's done the right way, private money lending, when you know what you're doing, you've been coached on it or trained on it or educated on it or have experience. To me, it's one of the best places right now to put money to grow it in the safest way possible with the least amount of risk. So to me, that makes a lot of sense why we're seeing banks tightening right now, and private money really accelerating. Plus, you have companies like Private Money Club that are popping up that have never been done before, and it's solving a lot of people, giving people that otherwise wouldn't know how to lend money or where to start or where to go to find deals to lend on and people to lend to. It's giving them a wonderful platform to meet and make those deals happen. So, and that's technology. Things like Private Money Club wouldn't have existed 10 years ago because it wasn't possible. We're using cutting edge technology to build this thing. And so, a combination of all that, it makes a lot of sense to me. I don't know if you got anything more, Chris.
Yeah. What's up, Brian? I think a couple other things I'll second, to what Stephen was saying. Everything he said was dead on. But you also have to look at, how banks operate. Banks were flushed with cash during the pandemic because they printed 5.1 trillion. And a lot of that money did find its way to the central banking system, which then distributes to the banks. And now that the Fed is reversed and is now, tightening and they're unwinding their balance sheet, they're literally sucking money back from the banks, which puts banks in a position where they don't want to lend. They tighten up, especially all this stuff going on with banks. I mean, banks they're really trying to, probably play it safe. And I think there's probably some hints in there. I mean, when you think of a bank, banks are typically lending longer duration when it comes to real estate, 30-year mortgages, 20-year commercial mortgages, where most private lending deals that you're talking about are more short-term. They're 6 months to 24 months, from what I've seen, in general, but the average would be about 12 months. So there's a lot less risk in a 12-month time than there is in a 30-year time. A lot more can happen. So I think that's another reason why banks are tightening up and private money is really going in. And another thing, think about what private money is. It's exactly what it sounds. It's all of us and all of our money. So when the stock market starts to fall apart and people lose faith in the general Wall Street system or the banking system, what do they look to do? Flight to safety. They try to find alternative ways to make their money go to work. If they can't make money in the index funds or those stupid IUL policies or anything else that's market related, they find other alternatives as to where they can go to make a return. And many of them, or hopefully more soon, will land in the private lending space because it is a secured way where they can put their money to work. And, up to the point, some people have never even known this existed. So now they hear about that they can lend their money out with a secured asset backing it. And that's like getting their ice cream and eating it too. It's just a whole nother world for people. And it's becoming, like Steven said, because of technology, more readily available to the average person.
Hey, can I play a 50-second video? Somebody just sent me this. It was Robin Williams joking about the banks in 2008, and it says 15 years later, seems like not much has changed.
It hasn't. CMOs are still back. GMOs are back.
Let's check this out. Here we go.
A group of junkies who realized, listen, man, I just needed some liquidity. You know what I'm saying? I just ran into some bad subprime, We just had complex formulas. We just didn't factor in greed and panic, I just need $805 billion by Tuesday. Yeah, no, seriously. No, I will not screw you again. It's pretty good. I learned my lesson. No, this is not like the other time. Seriously, just throw me a bad here, man. Just help me out. Just give me a little bit. Yeah, just a taste. That's all I need is a taste. I need $2.5 trillion. I'll pay you back. Give me the 1 week. Yeah, it's 1 week. They're going to print out a new $20 bill. The new $20 bill will be, instead of "in God we trust," it'll just say "trust me."
I got this cheeseburger, man.
Dude, he was one of the best ever, man.
Oh, miss him a lot.
For sure. Anyway, I just thought that was relevant. It just popped up as you were talking about the banks. But yeah, the banks are a mess right now, man. All right, what else we got?
All right.
Shauna is finding the next one.
Yep, Brian.
Time, Shauna. Come on. Let's go.
Question on the maps after we get a policy. The years beyond the first are all on the cash value available the end of the year rather than right after you make your premium, correct?
Yeah, this is a good question, and we should probably hit this more often. So when you look at an illustration, the only way the insurance company can calculate an illustration, show it, as year by year. So what they're assuming is that, when they show the cash value for year one, of course, that's end of year one, because that's after the dividend has been paid, and dividends are paid on the policy anniversary of the following year. So when you're looking at the cash value and you see the cash value on an illustration, that's the value that you're going to have in a year or 12 months after you get your dividend. So a lot of times people say, well, how much will I have in the first 30 days? I mean, we're never going to have that number exact, but the safest way to do it would be go on the illustration to the guaranteed column, because the only difference between guaranteed and non-guaranteed is guaranteed doesn't show a dividend because they're not guaranteed. So you're only looking at interest, and then maybe subtract, I don't know, a couple of percent. That usually gets you pretty close to what you're going to have in the first 30 days. Because in the first 30 days, you have really no interest to speak of, no compounding to speak of, and no dividends. So the guaranteed column minus a little bit is a good representation of what you'd have available immediately in the first 30 days. But again, it's kind of a blind moving target, because every day it's going to change.
Great explanation. I get asked that question a lot, and that's how I answer it. Is it's going to be a percentage of this, not the whole amount, but I love the extra layer that you put into it for everyone, Chris. So thank you.
Yeah, I didn't know that till right now, until you said that, and it makes a lot of sense. Drew,
so real fast, this fresh BYOB gear on chrisnaugle.com. Just go to chrisnaugle.com, go down a couple little pages, maybe a little, what are they, little sections?
like swipe it, yeah, like scroll down a little bit, and it'll be there.
And then you'll see them all right there. So you can pick whatever you want. We got some.
We got this one, the Burger King one. Is that on there?
It might be. I'll have to look, and if it's not,
this was kind of like a limited edition thing we did.
If it's not, I can get it on there. You can do.
While you're looking for that, here's a fun fact about the Ruck family. The Ruck family, after they learned about Becoming Your Own Banker and studied it and read, Becoming Your Own Banker by R. Nelson Nash, decided that the perfect Christmas gifts, is a little shout to Kira, who's here with us, would be able to get all of their family members, brothers and sisters and everybody, books, and give them the R. Nelson Nash's book for Christmas. I don't know how that turned out, but I'm sure it was the best present they've ever received in their whole life. So
if they read it.
Uh-oh. Where's Joe?
And I've got a real-time update about the hamburger shirt, Chris, that is on the site. So you can get it in blue for $42.76. It could be yours today.
Wow, what a bargain.
I'm gonna have Steven put the full length in the full length in the chat. Link in the chat. I just texted to him. Can you put that in there, please?
I mean, you can either choose to get a burger. That's about the same price as a burger these days, right?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Holy cow. I got a gift card for Burger King, and I can't even go because I don't have enough money on the gift card to eat.
Oh my God.
I was flying back. I got a 8-piece chicken nuggets at Chick-fil-A, with the fries and the drink or whatever, a combo meal, an 8-piece, which is the small one. And if you've ever been at Chick-fil-A, their chicken nuggets are tiny too, right? But anyway, 8-piece, $12.56 last week.
I don't know whether to say that's expensive or cheap these days. I mean, heck, an egg costs that.
For one little combo meal, $12.
I don't know.
No, that's nuts. That's nuts.
I'll tell you a quick story about, because of the price of eggs are so high, I actually had a family member, their house got oranged. Have you ever heard of that? People cut oranges in half and threw oranges at their house instead of eggs.
That's amazing. That's quite.
But I guess
it smells good.
Because it's cheaper.
It's cheaper. Yeah, it's cheaper than eggs. So there you go.
Wow. That's insane.
I don't know if that's easier or more difficult to clean up.
It's just as sticky, probably.
It smells better, for sure.
Smells better, just as sticky, would bring some ants or something. I can see it being a problem.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess.
I'm already thinking about doing
it. BYOB hood is $50.
Okay, Paul is asking, do all whole life insurance companies allow cash dump-ins?
Probably not. No, if you
yeah.
just went to any insurance company that has a whole life, do they all allow dump-ins? No. That's why we always say these are specially designed and engineered. So the companies we work with, and there's just not a ton of them. I mean, there's probably 5 good ones, and they all allow dump-ins, but not every company would. And not every agent, I can certainly tell you, not every agent, not every financial advisor would even know how the hell to build it with a dump-in. They're like, oh, you can't do that. It'll mech the policy. Yep. Okay, rookie, go back to school. Oh, sorry, they don't teach this in school, so that won't help you either.
I real fast interruption. I gotta order one of these. The Dexter. Are you kidding
made
me?
that today.
How do we not know about this?
It's new.
Brand new today. Me and Shauna were talking about this at like 9:30 last night. It is. It's the Dexter.
It's that sports.
That's all Dexter wears. I feel like.
Why do you think we made it?
Oh, you named it that.
Yeah, we wanted to do something for Dexter. You just ruined it, but nice shot. Nice job.
Dexter, that's what's coming to the mail for you. And I thought it was like, like when you go to like a local restaurant and, somebody's been there and they name a sandwich after that person. And, that's what we're doing for you, Dexter. That's available to anybody to purchase. And we named it the Dexter.
Gosh, I'm definitely getting one.
And it's that sports, sports material.
Nice.
Which is really hard for Shauna to find. She was like, I don't think we can get the stuff that he likes.
I was very surprised.
It's only available in a large though, dude. What's up with that?
I know. Maybe the other ones will come in eventually, but they're currently out of stock.
That's hysterical.
Dexter bought them all, man.
Kira is asking, when will you all be in Baltimore?
That's a good question. I had to tell somebody else that. When are we in Maryland? We do have one in Maryland. Do you want me to go get the list?
Yeah, because I just tried to look on money.
I need a beer anyway.
I tried to look on Money Multiplier events and
I have
events and it wasn't there.
Chris is taking action. You're right back. Refill.
BRB.
There's 2 Dexters available in the shop. There's it's got a little zip with a little like neck thing, and then one's just a crew neck, like long sleeve sports shirt.
You got the Dexter quarter zip and the Dexter lightweight long sleeve tee.
Baltimore's June 20th and 21st.
All right, great.
And Chris will be there. And it's at the Courtyard, Fort Meade.
How'd you find that out?
That's why I am the boss, Shauna.
Cartel boss.
Okay, actually, so if you go to moneyschoolrei.com/Baltimore, it will show up. It's 83 days away. 83 days and 56 minutes to be exact. There's a count.
Holy cow, we're only 83 days from the end of Q2 already? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. From the summer, that's like the summer solstice, right? June 21st? Or is that July?
Atlanta's not till November.
I don't know, but that's the best day of the year, the longest day of the year. That's an amazing day. It's not the depressing winter solstice when we only get a few hours of sunlight. So
yeah. All right, I'm gonna put it in that private chat, Stephen, if you want to put it in the full chat. Normally I can text in here. Okay. I've lost where we're at.
we are doing great wherever we are. We are on fire.
I'll come back to Matt's question when Chris is back. It's if Chris got some surfing done in San Diego, which I don't know. I think he definitely was trying to.
And I wanted to know more about that because he just said it was big and tiring. And I didn't know if that meant he had caught some good waves or was a wash machine or what that meant. I wanted to know how long he'd been surfing because I know he's a very talented, obviously professional athlete. So I figured he's probably pretty good at it. But how long has that been happening? Stephen was made fun of. Like people were wondering if he could surf. I think that happened last week when we were here. So
Out of here.
All right.
A map.
So this is where we're going this year. It kind of scared me to look at this. Like, look at all those circles. It's crazy. Who's doing that?
Who's done that?
Well, we've
right.
got it figured out. So if you go to moneyschoolrei.com/Baltimore, it's 83 days away. The 20th and the 21st.
There you go. And wow, I'm actually speaking there. How am I going to do that?
All right, let me look if it's in your calendar. Make sure.
Let's see. Where is Baltimore from where I'm at? Can Joe drive there?
He might be able to, honestly.
Actually, yeah. Pittsburgh, Maryland. Yeah, that's not too bad.
Yeah, I think that's why it's on your.
See, we could just get in Joe's magic vehicle that auto drives itself, and then we'll be there. We won't even know we were driving.
I think
Yeah.
it's gotta
All of you
be.
that don't
it's gotta
know,
be like
Joe's truck drives itself. He like
gotta
was
be
driving
8 or
home from
9
Florida.
hours, I would guess, from Buffalo to there.
How far?
I would guess it's 8 or 9 hours.
I'm gonna look it up.
Ouch.
I drove from Rochester to Florida, during college, and that was a long drive. That was like 18 hours, something
It
like
is
that.
long.
6 hours, man. 6 hours.
That's it.
6 hours.
Chris, everyone wants to know how your surfing was. All you wrote back, it was tiring and big. What does that mean?
The surf was awesome. So like we got there, it was firing. Really good break. Just a lot of guys out in the water. Probably six. There's probably some 10-foot sets rolling in. Like I was scared of those ones.
That is
the
big.
problem is I haven't been on a board in a better part of a year. So when I paddled out, I got exhausted immediately fighting through the shore break because it was heavy shore break. So when I got out in the lineup, man, I was shot. And then I was trying to catch my breath, just sitting there waiting, trying to kind of time it. The waves were really, because they had been really windy, so the waves are super close together. So like when one wave would come or a set of like 4 waves would come, because they came in sets of 4, they were really close. So after I caught my breath, I like paddled for one. I almost got up, but I was on a new board, so I was too far back on it, and the wave went by, but I'd already kind of gotten in the impact zone because the waves were so close. The next one came, pounded me on the head, and then the next one on the head, and the next one, and I duck dive through it. Now I'm exhausted, and I paddle back out. Now I'm waiting again, but now I'm caught in the rip because where I paddled out in the rip to try to make it easier, and I didn't get far enough right of the rip, so the one guy I was with starts like waving me in because he could see I'm like getting sucked out in the rip again. This happened last time. So I paddle out of the rip, which seemed like it took forever. It was probably 30 seconds, but it seemed like forever. And I got over by him, which was like right at the peak of the wave, the high point. And I went for one more and I got caught on the inside and it just demolished me. I don't either I was out of my league or I'm just not in good enough shape to like play in that size surf. I got out of the water. I mean, we were out there a couple hours. I got out of the water. I could barely see straight. I was so exhausted that I don't even have words for it. I couldn't even really eat lunch. I could barely function the entire day. And it took me literally, I kid you not. I don't know if it was just because of that or just because the whole trip was just, we went, I wouldn't say we went hard, but we were just 6 o'clock in the morning till 11, 12 o'clock every day, just talking to people. And then you do that. I think about 1 a.m. in the morning, the night before for the soiree. And then I go surfing that next morning. I don't know. My body was just pissed at me, really pissed at me. So it took like 3 days to recover.
Well, I appreciate you sharing because I got the 2 words. I'm like, oh, that sounds tiring. I'm not sure if it was a wash machine or like what your experience was, but that sounds accurate. And then when it gets
to that big, a washing machine, it was really good. These guys were ripping out there. And I felt like an ass. Like I was like, these waves are perfect. And I just didn't have the strength to get me into them.
No, when you get stuck inside like that and it's big, it's not fun.
Dude, the shore break was heavy, just heavy. And I just felt like all I did is duck dive. So I could barely paddle. I kind of got nervous. I'm like, I can't paddle. If something happens, I get caught, I don't know if I'd be able to swim.
Oh my God.
It was so exhausting. I can't even explain it.
I was kind of hoping you were going to explain the story more in like a surfer dude language, like, oh, bro, I was like catching some.
Oh, bro, I almost died. Which is
sounds fairly accurate. It sounds like that,
No, I was fine. I was just being a wimp. Yeah.
How long you been surfing? I mean, we know you're a professional athlete. How long you been surfing?
Over 20 years, which there's no excuse for that. No excuse for what I did. I'm in the gym all the time. I'm just not doing the right exercises. I don't listen. Like maybe some of it was the fact that we were out every night having some pops. I don't know. I've never felt like that before in the water ever. I've never felt that weak.
Where'd you end up going? What break? Where'd you end up going? What break?
Oh gosh. It was La Jolla Shores, but down by the science, that medical science thing. It's got a name. I'll get it to you in a sec. That was a great break. I mean, definitely like it was the break where most people were at because like the place was packed, just packed.
And then Sky
Shiva,
Anderson.
oh wait, hold on. Scripts,
Right?
Scripts.
Brian knew right away. You knew
So
before you
Sky Anderson of Scarlet Books said, reminds me of my transition to entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Yeah, shows Chris's tenacity to stay out there for 2 hours when he's getting.
Dude, it was easily 2 hours. I mean, I got a little bit of a tan on my face. I mean, I was out there for a while, and toward the end, I felt like it was more survival than it was having fun. It was like, don't die, like you have a family. I was just so fucking tired. I couldn't even.
Well, a little ego too. You're like, I got to catch one wave. I put in all this effort. I got to catch one wave. I'm just gonna get one. I'm gonna rip.
Well, if you're a surfer, like you understand, like you won't quit until you at least get one to talk about. Yeah. So I'm like out there, and and Eric, who the guy I was with, he's a really good surfer. So he's just all over the place. Like I see him over here catching that wave, then he's over here catching that wave, over there catching that wave, and I'm like, dude, slow down. But he calls me over like right to that wedge. He's like, this is the spot, and it was epic. But as soon as like one outside, not a rogue wave, but just one outside wave came and I wasn't able to make it through it, it just took me back. And then I made it back out. I just physically couldn't paddle into a wave at that point. So there was one point where, I saw a wave coming. I went for it. I didn't get it. And then I just kept paddling in. And then I just got hammered in the shore break. And then I just laid on my back and just let the waves crash on me.
That's actually not that part, but that's like one of my favorite feelings is like when it makes me feel like a kid when you are like literally that exhausted where you're just like, like just beach.
I did. It was funny. I mean, I had a hold of the leash because I didn't want to lose the board. Well, I had a leash on, but I just wanted to keep it close to me because it was my buoyancy. And I'm just laying and waves are literally just crashing on me. And any surfer would know this when you get to shore. Like if you have a big day or a rough day, like when you get to shore and you put your head between your legs and all of it runs out of your sinuses. Dude, it was like Niagara Falls. So I had myself a good old time. Clean those sinuses right out. Probably why I'm sick now.
I think the salt water would be healthy. Like
but remember, it had been raining for like days and days and days, which means in California, all the sewage pumps out.
Yeah, like with Long Beach, basically. Yep. Here in New York. All right, I'm going to get into some.
Sorry, real fast. I just have to dip out. It's my wonderful mother's 70th birthday. So we're all getting together.
Whoa.
Congrats. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mama Nagy.
Cha.
Awesome, guys. So go BYOB, and we'll see you very, very soon. And I'll see you guys all, except Jason, in Mexico Friday.
Viva Adios. Mexico.
Adios.
Viva Las Mexico. Trying to blend the two masterminds.
All right. Ryan.
All right, let's get to it.
Besides the book Chris wrote, which he wrote 3, what's everyone's favorite book? Doesn't have to be money related.
Think and Grow Rich, number 1. Richest Man in Babylon, number 2. I think 501k is a really good book. The And Asset by Caleb is a good book. Those are just a few. Jason?
Without being banking related, I'll go with Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza.
I love Dr. Joe.
Right? When's a better time than break the habit of being yourself than right now? Right? So I'll put that as one of them. Mindset for Carol Dweck. That started my journey several years ago into personal development and really showed me what it was to be a fixed mindset versus abundant mindset. And then I'll go with Think and Grow Rich as well, because that just shows you that you can, as long as you're being before you do and you have, as long as you can feel what that feels like to be, you can create whatever it is that you want.
Love that.
Awesome. Yeah, so I would say the book that I've been reading a lot lately, well, there is a book I read every day, and that's the Bible. But then the second book that I've been reading very often is from an author, Orson Marden Sweat, and he's a writer from the 1800s. He's got a whole series of books. But an interesting fact about this guy is he's the one that started Success Magazine. But what I find so interesting about his writing is that he could be writing today. The things he's talking about are so applicable for today about how people should live, just the struggles. But anyway, if you want to check him out, he's got a book called Prosperity Mindset. It's a rock star book. But that'd be my picks.
Thank you, Craig.
I have I have 4 to say. So one, You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero was a really good one that I read like 5 or 6 years ago. And actually it was probably 6 years ago. And it helped me get to a point where I ended up, after reading that book, I ended up working for Chris. So I feel like that book kind of did a little something for me.
Cheers to that book.
And then Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill
Yes.
is also a very good one. For many reasons. It's helped me try to even eat better, to just know how certain things that we put into our bodies affect us, what we see, what we hear, what we eat, what we think, all that sort of stuff. And then at the last experience, Sean Finnegan shared a book called Crucial Conversations for When Stakes Are High. And I've been reading that to and from work for a while on Audible. And it helped me a lot with how I pretty much interact with the team and certain things, or even like throughout reading the book, like certain problems we were having as a company. Like I could see like how like for example, like when like basically one little tidbit was like dialogue is not decision making. So like when we have these conversations and stuff like that, that doesn't mean a decision's been made. Like we're just talking. Like there still has to be a point where somebody decides something, and that's like sometimes just a simple step that we would miss. And then the last one would be The Go-Giver, which is a very short book. You can listen to it on Audible. It's like 2 hours, like 2.5 hours.
So good though.
Yeah.
Can I add one more? Green Lights. Shout out to my boy Matthew McConaughey. That is a must read for everybody. It's just the most entertaining. And you got to forget the book. Throw the book in the garbage. You have to listen to the audiobook. My boy reads the book, and it's epic. I'm going to read.
I got to check that out. That's out.
Yeah, I'm reading the next.
It's not a must read. It's a must Audible.
Check out Jesse for a fun one. If you like David Goggins, right, and you've read any of his stuff, read "Living with a Seal" by Jesse Itzler. That's hilarious. Like who the F was going to invite David Goggins to come live with them? So that's super entertaining. That's a fun one. And I had another one too that Chris reminded me of.
There's so many good ones. And I tend to read. Anyone of you reread books? Like I just finished the book of Genesis and a couple other ones, but I went back to a book I read during the pandemic by James Rickards, the New Great Depression. And it's just interesting after we've gone through everything to go back and re-listen to something that was written during that period of unknown. It's wild, but everything he talks about in that book is happening now.
I was going to say, Ryan Holiday's Ego is the Enemy, right? Like that, anything by Ryan Holiday is by my top.
Yeah, he's good. Controversial, but good.
I'll throw another one out there. A friend of ours, Bob McIntosh, Get Out of Your Own Way. That's an awesome book. And you know what's funny about Bob McIntosh, Chris, is when we were in Sundance and I met Bob McIntosh, I didn't put 2 and 2 together until like a day later. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're the guy that wrote that book. But for me, it was pretty compelling because, and I'm sure a lot of people are like this, where you've got to have everything just right, all figured out before you take action. And sometimes just taking action before you know all of the answers, you're going to be way better off down the road, even if you have to do some course correction. But anyway, I thought his book was really awesome with that whole concept of done's better than perfect.
Yeah. You don't know it, but when Shauna started, Bob McIntosh was my business partner for Flip Out Academy.
Okay. Yeah. I remember him telling me about that because he came out to Denver and we were chatting. I'm like, how did you know Chris? I didn't know you guys pretty much grew up together too, didn't you?
Yeah. He's a good guy. I ended up buying him out just because it just didn't make sense for him anymore. But he's a great guy. He was a good partner.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about Bob earlier today because when I first met Bob, which was 5 years ago, he was going to a mastermind in Mexico, no less. And I remember that the concept of masterminds was that, especially a destination one, was just super foreign to me. And he was just like, you should come and you would really be good at helping coordinate this. And I remember thinking it was way too out of my league. It was totally something I would never consider. And I thought about him this morning, kind of realizing all these years later, I do plan them and I go to them and all that stuff. And it was just I never, at the time when he brought it up, it was so far out of my league. It's really cool.
That's
Think about
awesome.
All right, let's rock it through these other ones. We got Brian Faulkner. You want to read that one, Shauna?
Okay. 2 loans, both around 20,000. One is paying back a 403B loan to yourself. The other is a traditional car loan. With the market uncertainty, would you prioritize the car versus repaying the 403B?
So easy. Absolutely the car, because paying back the 403B is paying yourself back with interest. So the interest back to your 403B, that's all your interest. So take your time with that. Matter of fact, like in these market uncertainties, that's the best thing you can be doing in your 403B, your 401k, is take a loan and pay yourself back. Make sure the loan is used properly, but because that's a guaranteed return, and nobody's making money in 401ks right now, but you are, because you got a loan out and you're paying yourself back. So do not repay that 403B loan any faster than you have to, but definitely knock out that car loan.
Yep, I agree.
Perfect. Andy's asking when is Atlanta, but I'm not sure if I don't think Atlanta's on the list.
Georgia is, yeah.
Okay, so what is it? Maybe it is. When is
Atlanta, Georgia. Oh, we don't have a specified date. It's in November. That's all you need to know.
it? Okay,
We have
November.
3 events in November: Little Rock, Arkansas. We got Atlanta, Georgia, and Orlando, Florida, all in November. We just don't have specified dates yet.
And then Eve Page again is asking, where do you buy the merchandise? I'm not seeing it on the TMM website. You'd go to the Chris Naugle website, like chrisnaugle.com, and kind of scroll down a little bit. It'll say like the Money School merch, and then you just click that button. It'll take you to the Shopify, and for some reason it auto categorizes as like staff picks, and I didn't really know how to change that. But there's more than that. You go to like catalog all, and it will like unlock everything. You can buy a koozie and stuff like that too. All right. North Carolina date and Pennsylvania. Do you have those?
So Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is April 25th and 26th. So me and Joe will be there. And what was the other one?
North Carolina.
North Carolina is June 1st and 2nd.
Okay. And then for the Pittsburgh one, if you go to moneyschoolrei.com/Pittsburgh, that page is available. It's 27 days away. And then what's the North Carolina city?
North Carolina? I think it's in Raleigh.
Okay, I'm just going to check if there's a
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay. So then it should hopefully be moneyschoolrei.com/Charlotte.
Yep. So moneyschoolrei.com/
Yep, Charlotte, 64 days away.
What is it, George? What was the one? Pittsburgh?
Yep, /Pittsburgh and then /Charlotte.
I just put it in the memo so you guys can sign up for that.
All right. Okay, Big K Reed says, can I have an email to send my policy for you to take a look at? I would love to get a second opinion. I need some financial guidance.
I'll do it. I mean, any of us will. I mean, unless Craig, you're good with spreadsheets. You want to review it?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead and send over to Craig at themoneymultiplier.com. I'll take a look at it.
Yeah.
It may not be this week, so I'm heading out to Mexico. As you know, I'm El Guapo, but
we're all Mexico bound.
Yeah. We're all going to have a great weekend. Well deserved for everybody. All right.
Dexter said you have to respect the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
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 Katie Elliott is asking, do you have any detailed videos on how to use our policies if we don't have debt? I'm already investing with the Fullers. I think what I'm needing help with is understanding how it's good for the policy to use it. I'm not understanding how it makes the policy more efficient. Thank you.
Well, it's not going to make the policy, Katie, it's not going to make the policy more efficient. It's simply using the money in the policy, which makes your financial banking system more efficient. If you're already lending to the Fullers, yeah, I have, there's a lot of videos on this. I'd probably be reluctant to even know which one to send you to. I mean, you could watch the case study with Devin Burr. And I'm going to be doing another case study here soon about like me lending to the Fullers, but I'm not going to call it the Fullers. It's just going to be private lending. So when you say like a detailed video, I think probably what would help you the most, Katie, is watching the Devin Burr case study video. So if you go to my YouTube channel and you go to the case studies section, do you remember what that one's called, Shauna? It's
I think it's like becoming a millionaire through real estate or something. But there's a whole, YouTube calls them quote unquote playlists. So if you go to chrisnaugle.com, look for playlists, and one will be case studies.
Remember the policy. A lot of people want to glorify the specially designed whole life, but really the whole life just provides a perpetual tailwind behind your money. So think of an airplane. Like imagine if you could fly either way cross country and you always had a tailwind, you would always get where you're going faster. So that's what the policy does to your money. It gives you a tailwind called uninterrupted compound interest. So your money's always making a spread, always working for you, and it never stops. Now, in the early years, not exciting, but in the later years, it's mind blowing. So if you can kind of understand that. So with what you're doing, you're taking loans from your policy, lending to the Fullers, making 12%, taking the 12% interest you're earning from the Fullers, hopefully being an honest banker and recapturing that back into the policy with a loan repayment back to the policy. And then that just builds it up. And sometimes, and I don't remember what it was like in the beginning for me, my learning curve, but I mean, now it's just like, I don't even think twice. I'm constantly recapturing money into my policies. It's just a circle. I got money moving around this circle fast. And the faster the money moves around the circle and the faster I get it back into my policies, the more money that builds up, then I redeploy it into different deals. So it just, I know, Katie, if you're just starting, maybe it's just kind of overwhelming and you're just trying to kind of get your feet, really planted in how this thing works, but just trust the process and just use the process. Don't cheat yourself. Don't steal from your bank. Eventually you'll look back and you'll just be like, this is ridiculous. I mean, whether you ask Craig, myself, or anyone else, I mean, if we have older policies than most, when those policies get old and all that compound interest is really starting to pay you, I swear to you, it comes to a point where you like, I don't know how to move all this money fast enough. There will always be money in cash value, no matter how much you try to move it because of that compound interest. So I think what you're doing is you're putting so much emphasis on the whole life that you're forgetting the process. And really, I think that case study video will help you wrap your head around the process of what you're doing, because you're doing it right. You're not doing anything wrong as long as you're recapturing the interest that you're earning from the Fullers back into your system.
Yeah. And one perspective I can add onto this too is, a lot of people ask about retirement income, right? So you can build up cash inside of your policy and at some point, do the calculation to more or less annuitize that cash value to say from age 70 to 100, how much can I take out? That's great and all, but you're probably going to see 4 to 5%. So it's not going to be a lot. But if you were to also have, well, let me back up. So let's say before even retirement, you have $100,000, you throw it with the Fullers, and you just do it out of cash. It's still a pretty good picture because you're getting 12% a year. But if we make a stop in the policy first and you have that compounding inside of the policy and then you take the loan and you're paying that back over time, what you're going to end up in, and I talk about the rule of 72, which it doesn't always work for, 12% or 14% deals, but 72 divided by 12, 6 years. So let's say in 6 or 7 years, your money doubled. Okay. So you've got the money growing in the policy. Now you've generated enough money to perhaps pay back that loan if you don't need it. So now you're sitting with $100,000 just free and clear of the debts of the policy loan, and you've got the money in the policy. So the way I look at it is in retirement, you can continue to use that 100,000 to generate, say, $1,000 a month, or if it's 200,000, 2,000 a month, but you've still got the policy over here if you need it. So I kind of look at that as could be a safety net in retirement, age 65, 70, or whatever. So I don't know if that makes sense, but what I'm trying to do is deploy money out to the Fullers and then just put it all back in the policy. And it will get free and clear at some point, right?
I think Katie's doing everything right. We always have to remember that, like, there's no get rich quick. the process and the concept we teach is getting wealthy, and that takes time. It's a marathon. So don't rush the system. You're doing great. The Fullers are paying you interest. I mean, it's a great interest rate. And the policy, when you're talking about efficiency, the only way to get the policy to be efficient is time. That is truly the answer that most people don't want to admit. It is just time. And, it's hard for some people that do this to say that, and they want to say, oh, you can do the policy, you do the 90-10 and it's more efficient, or do this or do that. Listen, like, I've been doing this 20 years. The true answer to what is efficiency is time. Warren Buffett would tell you the same. And time is a shitty thing because it just is boring. You got to wait for it. But by being patient, being consistent and persistent, following the process and following the rules of simply just being an honest banker will pay off in spades, I guess would be one way to say it. You won't even understand how much it will pay off yet, but you're doing it right, Katie. So just keep it up.
I'd say congratulations for executing, right? For moving your money, not just sitting there like a glorified savings account. That's amazing. It's great to hear people winning and starting and asking these questions, because it opens up all the wisdom from you guys that have been doing it for, like Craig, 14 years is oldest policy, right? So it's awesome.
Yeah. Friday, I interviewed Jerry Lipsy for Private Money Club, and he uses his self-directed IRAs and his money multiplier policies between him, his wife, his children, and his grandchildren. I think he has 8 of them, anywhere from 3 years old, like 3-year-old policies, like in newer. And I want to quote him. He said, "I didn't want to get rich quick. I wanted to get rich for sure." And,
Awesome.
And I was just like, so shout out Jerry Lipsy, because I just loved that. And
Jerry's been with us for a while. I remember doing the
since
calls with him early
2019.
on.
Mm-hmm.
He's been with us for a long time.
Yeah, it was great. And then to that point, NA says, how can I get started with the policy? And Chris kind of put a little instructions in the chat, but you would go to chrisnaugle.com, watch the 90-minute video, and then schedule a call. And then a Facebook user is asking, what is investing with the Fullers?
The Fullers are huge developers. They develop all over the country, but primarily, like, a lot of their projects are in Colorado and Atlanta. And, they're literally like hundreds of millions, in development projects, if you really were to total them all up. And I was at a mastermind, a high level mastermind, and I met Rob. So I kind of built a relationship, and it was funny because, like, it was the mastermind where we were actually in Las Vegas racing Ferraris. And we had a lot of time because we were like the last ones going out. Matter of fact, Rob got rained out. He never got to race the Ferrari, but I was right before him. So we talked the entire time. And I knew what Rob did. And, I knew Rob was always raising money. And, we got into the conversation about how he uses institutional money. I mean, I'm always talking about money to people. So he was open about it. He's like, yeah, we use institutional money, blah, blah, blah. We have no problem getting money. It's not an issue. And I'm just like, well, why don't you give me a shot? Give me a shot to raise some money for you. Give me a shot to show you what private money. And it was kind of funny. Shauna knows this, but Private Money Club wasn't even a thing. Like, it was a thing, but it was in beta. Like, we didn't even have what we have today. It was like Slack, and like we had our first. I don't even remember what the first website looked like, but that's what we had. And I'm like, let me help you raise tens of millions of dollars. And he kind of, I don't know. You can just see it sometimes in people. Like, he wasn't being mean or snarky or anything, but you could just see he's like, okay. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, we could try that. Yeah. Let's try that. All right. Let's see what you can do. And, we raised about, I don't know, since we began with Rob, about almost 30 million. So Private Money Club actually came through for him. And what they found is that working with private lenders and individuals was so much more fulfilling to them, because they actually saw the lives they were changing. Instead of just borrowing money from institutions and big banks and hedge funds and all the places they got the money before, they were actually able to help people change their lives and get the same result on their end. So then when they built these relationships, like they literally have changed their entire business model. Think about this, like a development company, huge development company, hundreds of millions of dollars, changing their entire focus from like big Wall Street, big bank model to, we're going to work with the small guys and gals, and we're going to work with private investors, and we're going to put all the faith of our company in the fact that we can raise enough money through these small channels, and they continue to do it to the tune of millions of dollars a month that they raise. And that means they're changing lives for hundreds of people. and that's who they are. So if you want a connection to them, if you think that would be a fit for you, I'm happy to put you on a call with them. More than welcome to, get you on a call. Just let me know.
Yeah, and I did have a surprise. You look at the promissory notes and it kind of defines the relationship of how much you're going to get paid. And around Christmas time, I got a box on the porch. It wasn't even the promissory note, and it's a gift, kind of a thank you gift. And I don't know, I would just say Rob and Nicole, they're A+ top-notch people.
Dude, it's like that movie with Ralphie. A++. You remember that?
Yeah.
One of his dreams where I think it was part of the Red Ryder BB gun.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And
I always love
he's shooting all the bad guys.
Yeah. And I always love when his dad's down working
that.
on the furnace.
That's a really good impression of him.
It's so funny that's what furnaces used to look like. It's crazy.
Yeah.
One of the first houses, first furnaces we have. That's what it was. One of those things.
Yeah.
Crazy. I'm surprised our houses didn't all burn down. It's amazing. We look back in the past and we're like, man, I don't know how people lived back then. Actually, it was way better back then. Like, it was like people actually said hi to their neighbors. People actually like it was just a different time. Yeah, your house probably could burn down. Yeah, if you got mouthy with your parents, you got soap shoved in your mouth and your ass beaten with a belt. Like, and today you'd go to jail for that as a parent. But like back then, like, shit, they didn't turn out too bad. Now, did they? It's funny how when you look at the past, you can learn so much about what we're doing wrong in the present.
Yeah. How many of us got
much right?
How many of us got beaten by our parents?
I got the wooden.
I didn't, but I had a relationship with. My mom raised me, and I had a relationship with her where I was brutally honest with her, and like when I did bad and I was a bad boy or I lied to her, man, I it just hung on me, and I just told her. I always came home and I'm like, Mom, I got to tell you something. I lied to you, and I never got my ass beat by a belt. But my dad wasn't much in my life, so that's probably why I didn't get my ass beat. Otherwise, I probably would have.
Grandma had a wooden spoon too. That thing was scary.
Yeah.
Dude, those wooden spoons rock. Bring the wooden spoon back, Grandma.
Oh, I got the wooden spoon like way older than I would care to admit. I would swear to God, I was in the 9th grade. I was like, oh my God.
I think that's a story from Mexico.
Okay, to that point, Kira is asking if there's a minimum income to starting a policy.
No, there's just a minimum amount. So, Kira, I don't know how old you are, but I'll just give you mine. I'm 45. So my minimum, I would add a 0 to my age. So 45 plus 0 is 450. And that would be my minimum monthly. So, Kira, whatever your age is, just add a 0 to it. And that's your minimum monthly. So it has nothing to do with income.
But you would still need to have.
Kira and Lewis were asking, I think, for their family members. They're the ones that gifted the books. They started a policy with us already, so they're looking to help them. And they probably, I think that's where that question's coming from.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Thank you for the question, Kira.
Isn't it? I mean, you still need income to qualify for the policies. So you can take your gross income, 25% of that's typically what you can do as a max, right? So you need to have some income.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And we're talking about where we're moving your surplus money, right? Like Craig's, we've given homework assignments for people who want to do this. You got to be in the business of making money first and then controlling the banking. It's not the other way around, right? So it's really having that income, that surplus where you're not taking the cheese off the macaroni. And I've been telling Chris too, I don't know what you think about this, but I've been telling most people who ask me that question, listen, we would say, if you're really sold on the process and you want to practice and you're not able to do 10,000 a year or 833 a month, then we'll start you at 10 times your age. But I'm going to warn you that if you're telling me you're paying off $100,000 in debt and you're going to put in $4,000 or $4,800 a year, that's going to take a long ass time. So we're going to have to find another way for you to start using that to put that money in motion. Like right now, $4,000 a year is to get you a tank of gas and like 18 eggs. And that's it. Right. So
I agree.
And hello, Steve. Steve is going to do some cool things. He's come up to see you guys in Utah. Asked me if I'm going to be there. I said, probably not, maybe. But, Steve will be up there to see you guys in Utah. He's done some cool things with his career. So what's up, Steve? So
we look forward to meeting Steve. And on that, Shauna, do you want to talk a little bit about how everybody should be doing what Steve's doing and meeting us as we wrap?
Yes, everyone should just come to the workshop April 28th and 29th in Salt Lake City. Well, it's not in Salt Lake City, it's south of Salt Lake City, but I don't even really know what to say besides it's going to be a great time.
Epic.
Meeting everybody in person is so fulfilling. You'll make super great relationships. You're going to be energized to make the right decisions, to take action, to do things, to get things in place. You're going to have all the people you need to get you there. You're going to be inspired. You're just going to do instead of think and wish.
And I don't know what it is.
Right.
I don't know what it is about the PMC Money Tank event, but the only thing I can, and listen, folks, sometimes you just have that gut feeling. And the only thing I can tell you is I went to the first Grant Cardone event, the first 10X event that he did. And it was a magical experience. It was small. There wasn't a ton of people. You built personal relationships. You got to talk to Grant and Bradley and all those guys. And it was just a magical experience. And a lot of people only wish they could go back and go to that original 10X. If you go now, you're in a giant stadium. You don't ever get exposure to anybody, and everybody seems to be pitching you something. But back then, it wasn't that way. So Money Tank, this first Money Tank in Salt Lake, is going to probably be that event that people will talk about for decades in the future. To be like, oh, I wish I could have went to that original one. I wish I could have went to that first one. I wish I would have got a VIP ticket to see and meet Sean Whalen and those people. But, well, VIP sold out. Sorry, you missed the boat. But it's just one of those things that sometimes you got to really ask yourself, like, why would I not go? And I can't understand why anyone wouldn't go. Salt Lake's beautiful, first off. The time of the year we're going to be there is epic. And it's just going to be all the right people. I don't know. I got a crazy good feeling about the Money Tank events, and this first one's going to be very special.
So to Mary's point, she asked, like, is the hotel included? It's not, but to that point, we are offering a 50% discount so that you can, especially with it being, a month out, and like travel in that time frame is kind of tight. So we have a 50% off coupon. You can do PMC 50 when you check out. It's privatemoneyclub.com/moneytank. And then when you check out, PMC 50 will take off 50%. And then you can apply that to, your lodging or whatever. I originally was going to book us all like hotel rooms in the area, but it actually ended up being cheaper just to book through Airbnb. So when you do buy your ticket, you get a confirmation email. It'll give you the address of the venue, and there were great homes in the area. They're all beautifully decorated, like super cool. So my suggestion, just from our own look, was just to get Airbnb in the area. Would be my suggestion as far as lodging.
Yeah, Shauna rented us a castle.
I didn't even tell you that, but I did rent like a literal castle, a Mormon castle or something, because it's like it was either, we'll talk about making smart decisions. It was like going to be $1,098 for each of us to get hotel rooms. There's like 4 of us going. That's like $4,400. Or it was $1,700 to rent an apartment in a castle. So I did that.
Yeah. So folks, sometimes you got to get a little creative with your hotel.
Well, I was texting Sean Finnegan at the time, and I was like, I think I'm going to rent this place out. And he was just like, I've actually done events there. It looks like it could be like a wedding venue, because there's like some sort of like orchard and a barn. And if you've ever seen The Sound of Music, it was like this glass like house thing. I don't know. It looked really cool. But Sean said it's close to their office too, and all the things. So it's like, looks great. I'm doing it.
Awesome. Well, I know we ran long today, folks, but you guys had some great questions. We wanted to make sure we got them all. So make sure you get your BYOB merch at chrisnaugle.com. Scroll down. Make sure you click catalog to see all the stuff, including the brand new Dexter limited edition quarter zip. It is epic. But with that being said, folks, we appreciate your time. We appreciate your questions, and we will catch you next time. Thanks for joining us for Ask Me Anything. Happy hour is over.